President Trump, I think it was last Thursday, signed a series of new orders, or actually he signed a resolution that is going to involve 9 different federal agencies passing new rules, all rooted in the idea of the resurgence of protection, the renewal of protection of religious freedom in America. The renewal of the protection of religious freedom. Religious freedom, prayer, has been pummeled out of the public school, out of the public square, out of public meetings by leftists who have no tolerance for genuine Christian faith. So President Trump, in another act of just bravery and standing up, and when you think about it for a second, just think about this fact. President Trump, president of a country that's had in its Bill of Rights, since it was written, the first and most important right, the protection of religious freedom. But here we are in 2020, President Trump had to sign an order saying, by the way, there really is such a thing as religious freedom. Kids really can pray in school. They had stories of kids. In fact, one of the stories that prompted him to do this order was a story of a kid who in some public school they have a free period. So in the free period, you can go to the library to read a book. You can go to the lunchroom and, goof around, eat snacks. You can go to a club meeting. This one group of students said, well, we want to go and just pray for our school. That's what they want to do in their free period. So they go off to pray for their school, pray during the school day in a private room. And man, they got pummeled. Were told by the head of the school, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. No prayer allowed in public school. Folks, no prayer allowed in public school is not what the Constitution requires. It's what the radical, tyrannical, endlessly driven to more power left has brought to this country, brought us to this stage. So President Trump is reimagining, but he's reasserting that the First Amendment actually means what it says, that we're going to have religious freedom, tolerance for religion in this country. Of course, immediately after President Trump signed those orders, it was a big event in the Oval Office in Washington. And some of the kids who've been the victims of religious discrimination in public schools were there, along with other adults who work in this, in this field of trying to advocate religious freedom. And it was a very, very touching ceremony. Almost immediately afterwards, some of the LGBTQ activists launched off stories all over the place about how President Trump is signaling intolerance of the LGBTQ world. And you got to just think what that means before we get to our why it matters to you. What the LGBTQ advocates are saying is if kids can pray in public school and hold meetings and stand up for their faith, the leftists, are more concerned about the LGBTQ students being uncomfortable than they are with the First Amendment protection for freedom of religion. I'm going to be sure in this country we're not going to have students who are of the LGBTQ persuasion being attacked. It's a false picture the left paints. They try to make it seem like that the entire LGBTQ effort is just they're endlessly the subject of discrimination, and everybody's got to step aside, and every law steps aside, and every potential respect for religion must be abandoned in order to honor, uplift, and uphold the LGBTQ lifestyle, advance it, force it to be taught to young children, force it to be taught in the public schools. And the president saying, no, actually, we have a First Amendment, and it stands for religious freedom. See, right here in the First Amendment, it says that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It's right there in the Constitution. But the left found that reassertion of the primacy of the First Amendment to be offensive. This is a perfect example of why it was so necessary for President Trump to do what he did. Now, I'll be clear, I think there's enormous struggles people suffer emotionally with respect to they identify themselves as LGBT, struggles they have over sexuality. It's not a simple issue. And people are struggle and they mean well, and many people who are concerned about their own children. You can have sympathy for your own child. You can have concern about our society and the way we handle people who choose same-sex relationships, and the way we already have same-sex marriage blessed by the Supreme Court. So it's not like they can't live that lifestyle. What you're hearing from the left is it matters far more that people embracing the LGBT lifestyle be given every benefit of the doubt, every deference, priority in whatever they want to do, whatever they want to impose on the rest of us, than it is for the First Amendment to mean what it means. That churches, religions can actually live and practice their belief in what the Bible teaches them.